On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Throw it up, watch it all fall out. Blow it up, that's how we ball out. Throw it up, watch it all fall out. Blow it up, that's how we ball out. Strip clubs and dollar bills. Still got more money. Patron shots, gonna get a refill. Still got more money. Strippers going up and down that pole. And I still got more money. 4 o'clock and we ain't going home. Still got more money. Money make the world go round. Still got more money. Bands make your girl go down. Still got more money. Lot more where that came from. Still got more money. So look in your eyes and know you want some. Still got more money.
Happy Thursday. Welcome in. You are locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Shout out to Rihanna. It's her birthday. Her man is not going to prison. And they got them babies. So that's what they're doing. Throwing it up, watching it fall out for the sky. Shout out to them. You are locked in for the entertainment update with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. And as you know, we are going to get into all the headlines, all the topics, all the tea, with receipts, of course. Thank you for joining us. It is Thursday. First of all, thank you to Keith Underwood for tapping in yesterday for me. Appreciate it. Great show. I was at the African American Film Critics Association Film Honors. There were several that were honored there. Coleman Domingo was honored. Nicole Avant, that is Clarence Avant's daughter. The film Nickel Boys, several others. You guys can tap into that. So it was an elegant affair. You know, it is awards season. We have a couple more coming up. The NAACP Image Awards on Saturday. Sunday is the SAG Awards. And then the following Thursday is the Essence Black Women in Hollywood. And then Sunday, the Academy Awards. So that will wrap up awards season for us. We hope to see some of our favorites, get their due, or maybe not, depends on how you feel about awards and whether or not you think that they are valid. But tonight, we are going to be getting into a couple of things, one of which being Kevin Hart. He had a lawsuit out there against his former assistant. So that has been settled. We're going to get into the details on that. And it's Thursday, so that means that we are getting all up in the business. That's our new segment on the business of entertainment and sports. We're going to be tapping in with Damon Haley. We're going to be talking about Kevin Hart's empire and what he should do next and kind of where he's at, the things that are happening with him. And we're also going to get into the recently announced Skims collaboration with Nike. That is a big one. There's a lot of conversation about who this collaboration is really helping and is it good for whose brand? So we're going to break that down and take a look at that. And of course, before we get into the main topics, I have to get into a couple of conversation starters, keep you guys in the know of what is going on. And your guy 50 Cent continues to go after Lil Meech. It's like if you take one step outside of 50's loyalty circle, you're done, son. It's over for life. BMF must not be coming back. I know season 4 is supposed to be coming out soon, but the way that 50 is handling his star, I don't know. So he recently revealed on Instagram, in addition to the many things that he's dropped about the situation, that he is claiming that he had to send Little Meech to rehab because he was showing up to the BMF set high and even threw up during a weapons test on set, and that his co-star, Russell Hornsby, who plays his father on the show, said something to others, and that he believes, Fitty, that his dad might be the reason why Little Meech is acting out. First of all, don't help me if you're going to tell everybody once it's said and done for something like that. That's a cold piece of work, but that's 50. But secondly, I want 50 to calm down. I know it's not in his nature. I know that is 50, but goodness, is it ever bad for business? I guess not, because the train rolls on. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to get into this Kevin Hart story. And of course, more trending topics and headlines. You are locked into KBLA Talk 1580 with Jill Munroe.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older, like you, are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Visit WeTalkWeRise.com to learn more. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back into KBLA Talk 1580. You are locked in for the entertainment news update with Jill Munroe. Now listen, if at any point during this conversation you would like to get in, give us a call, 800-920-1580. Or, you can hit us on social media, KBLA 1580. The YouTube chat is always active. You can get in there and there's a whole different conversation at times going on there than what we're talking about here. But you can experience both and kind of cross-reference. We love that. So, and also, if you haven't, download the app. in case you want to listen on the go. There's so many ways for you to tap in. So very many. Okay, so let's get into this Kevin Hart story. I have talked about this quite a bit, but celebrities are striking back. If you are not paying attention, a lot of celebrities are out here calling out bloggers or YouTubers or lawyers, whomever, and filing suit against them for defamation, for all sorts of things. And they are also putting in a twist former employees. So Kevin Hart, he has been involved in this situation with his former assistant, Miesha Shakes, and blogger Tasha K for some wild allegations that allegedly took place involving the 2017 scandal where Kevin was somehow recorded in a hotel room, right, with a person that was not his wife. So that lawsuit, the initial, whatever happened with that, was settled. But Miesha went on Tasha K, and she had some interesting things to say, as mentioned. And so Kevin immediately filed suit. Well, that lawsuit has now been settled. But allegedly, this was a move to protect Kevin's brand. Or did he just want it off of his plate and not have to deal with it? As I said, the allegations were pretty crazy. He sued Tasha K and Miesha for defamation, and the interview dropped in December of 2023. Shakes claimed that Hart was facing charges related to a past scandal, legal charges, that he denied, and it also claimed that there was a breach of contract over an NDA, and he claimed what was taking place was basically extortion by her, right? We see this a lot in situations where people are employed for high-profile individuals. There is sensitive information that takes place in the duties of your job that you are requested to not share with others under any circumstance, including once you leave the company. But Miesha felt like she wasn't paid, so retribution, whatever. Well, now that it's settled, right, and the details of it are undisclosed, it comes at an interesting point for Kevin in his career. We talked about recently how there have been a lot of changes at his Heartbeat production company. He has recently closed his vegan restaurants after about 2 years. The CMO, CEO, and CFO of his company have all left within the course of a year and changed hands. And though his projects are doing well, there's a question as far as Heartbeat, because it's not big enough yet to be a major studio, and it's not quite small enough to be considered an independent. And independents are sort of paid differently and funded differently. We're in a VC era. So we have Damon Haley here, Mr. Haley, co-founder of Slayyy Hair, strategist, entrepreneur, author, all of the things. And we are going to get all in the business of Kevin Hart and later the Nike Skims collaboration. So welcome in, Damon. Happy Thursday.
Thank you. Happy Thursday to everybody out there.
So let's talk about where Kevin is at currently as far as a brand. He was just at All-Star Weekend last week. And let's talk a little bit about that and sort of move from that piece forward.
Yeah, I mean, he caught a lot of heat from his performance and involvement in NBA All-Star Weekend. NBA's having a hard time with just that whole All-Star thing and how to transform because, I mean, LeBron tapped out. Anthony Edwards, two of the stars, tapped out. And then the dunk contest, in my opinion, was just bad. And it's nothing new around it. We know viewership is down and all that. Kevin was brought in to be Kevin. And let's give Kevin his flowers. He's probably worth about $400 million right now.
Has worked nonstop for the last 20 years, making it happen for himself.
I think the richest comedian probably is Jerry Seinfeld because he owns all those shows and stuff. But Kevin owns a whole lot. Shout out to Jeff Flanagan, frat brother, who's helping him manage that part of the business. So he's doing really, really well. And so obviously when people are doing well, we look to nitpick. But last week I thought it wasn't it wasn't a good look, because people that are coming to see sports aren't coming to see him as a comedian. And I think that's how they tried to play him, as a short guy with Shaq and with all the WNBA people. I don't think it was a good look, but you can't go wrong when you're in business with the NBA, because the week prior, he got no love from the NFL, and he's from Philadelphia.
Interesting. He wasn't involved.
He wasn't. If you that Fox broadcast was tricky when it came to non-athlete or entertainment black people that were in the audience. No, we didn't see Jay-Z. We didn't see nobody. It was very tight on coaches. It was very tight on other types of celebrities were there. But he's Mr. Philadelphia Eagle, and we didn't know he was in the building. And he's the number one comedian by far, you know.
That's a great
And
point.
so that's why the NBA has to be in partnership with him. And I think it's a good partnership because he's a sports dude, Fabletics, you know, the healthy lifestyle, and he's still young, cool, hip, all that kind of stuff. And he can hang out with young, cool, hip people more than Seinfeld or any other comedian.
And he's shown that he also has an eye on the future, because he's one of the ones I mentioned the other night. He's working on a film project with Kai Cenat and Drewski. So he's tapped in with the streamers. He was one of the first ones to go, along with, you know, kind of the rock. No, Kevin, I feel like, was one of the first to go to the streamers and take his celebrity and put it there, much like he did with early Twitter. He was one of the first to leverage Twitter. And if you recall the lawsuit that happened when Sony's emails got leaked, when the hacker got to them, and there were questions about him wanting to charge them extra for his social media. At that time, social media wasn't considered an all-included thing as part of it. So he was kind of at the forefront for, you know, negotiating his worth, so to speak, with things like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's the tech comedian, you know, intersection of talent, acceptability, crossover, as well as technology. He's that guy. I mean, he's going to be rich forever, basically, because he can easily do a tour, he can do a movie, he can generate. Now, in terms of growing your brand and growing your business, it's two different things. He's having a tough time on the business side, which any business would. The business is in flux, is growing. How does he keep his hands on it? I don't know. I actually talked to somebody over there, because I was told he needed a lot of help. And so somebody requested me to have a conversation with someone. I did. And I can understand in that conversation how it's just tough to be over there. I know some of the people coming and going over there, but it's tough to build a business. But what him and Jeff have done on the streaming side, the content side, that's impenetrable. Yeah, I have a retail brick and mortar. I know that whole restaurant thing is tough. He could have easily said, I'm going to saddle up with Dave's Hot Chicken or Blaze like LeBron did or whatever. He could have did that. That would have been a better move. These partnerships might be better for him, you know, where there is an infrastructure, because what he's having problems with is building an infrastructure, and that is the most hardest thing to do. Qualified people that are dedicated won't tell because you get all that sensitive stuff, but to really be in it for a 5-year run, he just has a lot of turnover. It's hard to do any business like that, but he's going to succeed if he just finds the right projects and finds a few people. He's going to succeed. I don't think his brand takes a hit when you have somebody talking that violates an NDA. We don't even count that because we know what that is. That's just somebody trying to get some money. The other stuff he has, like the NBA thing, I'm not mad at it. You know, give him a bigger role. Don't just call him in to host. Maybe get with him throughout the year to do something more interesting that's in his lane, because he can bring people over to the NBA, so to speak.
How would you utilize him? How do you think that they could utilize him to bring in fans and also make it worthwhile, you know, outside of money, but for him where it makes sense?
Well, you look at his projects. Okay, what do you have? What do you have like projects? Okay, bring Shaq into a project. You know, bring a player into a project that you're doing. That kind of creates more integration. That's one thing that I would consider if I were him. Secondly, he has Chase, right? And Chase is involved with NBA. Okay, there's some stuff that can happen there with Steph Curry. You know, they Cash Back Brothers or whatever they say. So there's a lot of things. If he brings a round table of people to say, let's strategize a yearly plan versus just giving me an offer to show up at All-Star and be Kevin Hart, the comedian.
Okay. So let's kind of pivot. It was announced that Nike and Skims have formed a collaboration for a line that is dropping in spring, right? For Nike, as far as sportswear, right, that has never really been one of their core strengths. Footwear, yeah. Sportswear, so. Yeah. There are moments when it's been stronger. There are moments when it's been kind of not on the map, so to speak. So a lot of people are quite, the stock price, we know Nike's stock has been dragging for a couple years now. Yes, I know very well. But no. And so the stock price jumped up once this announcement came. So walk me through, because this is the first of its kind for Nike. Walk me through why they would agree to do a collaboration with Kim Kardashian and Skims. And in this, is there someone that benefits more than the other? Is it possible to be equal? And do you see this as being something long-term or something else that they'll venture out with?
Well, just so market cap. If you take all the stock and all that kind of stuff, Nike's worth well over $100 billion. Skims is worth $4 billion. So that's like 4% of Nike. You take the revenue. Last number I saw was easily over 50, but let's make the math simple. 50 billion over maybe $1 billion that Skims is doing. That's 2%. So for Nike, this isn't a big deal. In that bigger scope of Nike, it isn't a big deal. But when you hammer down into women's, you got to do more than just do cute Super Bowl ads.
Right.
People will appreciate that, but it might not move the needle. WNBA players haven't moved the product needle. And sportswear is probably not going to move the needle with women. But this new type of, form-fitting stuff, I mean, they still are $1 billion revenue business. And it's a halo effect. And I think Kim Kardashian has more followers than Nike.
I would imagine so.
She does. I mean, she's global. She's like them soccer people that have 400 million scenarios. So if I'm sitting on top of women with the women's business, I'm like, let's do that.
Because the last time, well, not the last time, but I can reflect to when Nike got in on dance, when they did the Move thing and they ended up doing the collaboration with Rihanna. They really wanted Sierra, but she said no. So they went to Rihanna. And it worked, but it didn't. But why do you think with the success of brands like Lululemon and others,
Alo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why hasn't Nike been able to capitalize in that area? Is it because I think, well, I'm sorry to interrupt. One thing I've always found, like with Nike and for a time like with ESPN, I felt like they concentrated on, and it's not wrong, the athlete and not the woman. I don't know if that makes sense,
No, I
but
get it.
holistically.
It's like,
oh, and Kim Kardashian has 357 million followers.
there you go. So sports, you got sports performance, which is a shoe that you use to do sports. And then there's the athleisure, there's the sportswear. So I think that's taking over now. Like Lululemon and Alo have shown, that's a business out there. And whether you really are an athlete with yoga, Pilates, all that kind of stuff, your body's still in motion.
It is.
And you still need that stuff. And so now this is a whole new genre and a whole new category that people up in Portland probably can't move. So in order to grow, you got to buy. You got to acquire. So I think the first thing, it's a partnership, right? They say it's a partnership. So if I'm looking at that, if I'm Skims, I get in more doors. I'll get to that other billions of advertising in the Nike halo. That's a great thing.
Because they have their partnership with the NBA. They have logo on the NBA court. They have the players and the WNBA players in their ads. I thought it was a wonderful collaboration. Yep. They also got involved with the Paris Olympics. I mean, she's doing it right. Now, do you think, because Kanye is a part owner of Skims, not front-facing, but he does benefit, do you think that at all caused them to be hesitant?
Not at all. I mean, because let's face it, Kim's the quote-unquote creative director. She's not doing any sourcing of fabrics or anything like that. It's actually a a British couple that
Emma.
was in Greedy. I think that's their last name.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Emma,
Jen and Jen, so they're the engine behind it. Let's face it, they're the engine behind it. They came to Kim and said, "We got an idea. We need you to be the face. Let's create $1 billion business." They did, and so I wouldn't be, like I said, if I'm sitting on top of Nike and it's women's and it's my job to move the needle, I'd do this deal 100 times over.
Okay. Well, listen, when we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. We're going to pick Damon Haley's brain some more, and we're going to get into the chat. Well, actually, right before we go to break, I'm going to get into this one comment. I think this is from Lucas Frank, it's for you. I think including streamers in the NBA All-Star is robbing Peter to pay Paul. The NBA All-Star needs to become more exclusive. Too many low-tier celebrities, too many WNBA players, too many All-Stars. We're going to get your thoughts on that when we come forward. You were locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. News, traffic, and sports on the other side.
That's how we ball out. That's how we ball out. That LA cost $100 bills. And I still got more money. Gold all up in my grill. And I still got more money. Who cares how you haters feel? And I still got more money. Call Jay up and close the deal. I still got more money. My fragrance on and they love my smell. And I still got more money. So who cares about what I spend? And I still got more money. My pockets deep and they never end. And I still got more money. I'm going dumb with all my friends.
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. New York Governor Kathy Hochul may impose restrictions on Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams, but will not remove him. Reports say she plans oversight measures and legal funding against the federal government if Adams doesn't act. Nearly 95 million people are facing cold weather alerts from the plains to the southeast. Virginia and North Carolina saw over a foot of snow, while Texas deals with unusual cold. The Los Angeles Fire Department is disputing Black Mayor Karen Bassett's claim that Fire Chief Kristen Crowley did not warn her about high winds before the January 7th fires. LAFD says it followed standard procedures, issued advisories, and warned officials. And Black Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown is joining a 37-state coalition urging the FDA to crack down on counterfeit weight loss and diabetes drugs. They warn unregulated meds endanger lives and call for stricter enforcement against illegal compounding pharmacies. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Crashing commerce on the 5 southbound at Slauson has been cleared out of lanes, and that drive is so slow out of Burbank getting away from Alameda. Beyond the crash, the drive remains heavy all the way to the 605. It's really tough on that 60 eastbound. Earlier crash at the 57. 3 right lanes remain blocked with the 57 north connector. Overall delays for the 60 eastbound loading up out of East LA. This is getting away from just about Downey Road, and it's also a tough drive on the 10 eastbound City Terrace from City Terrace Drive all the way to the 57.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, Cal Hope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Some disappointing news around the NBA today. San Antonio Spurs center Victor Wembanyama will miss the rest of the season after he was diagnosed with a blood clot in his right shoulder. The second-year star from France played in Sunday's NBA All-Star game. Milwaukee Bucks forward Bobby Portis was suspended 25 games without pay for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy. A random test revealed Portis, a key player for the Bucks off the bench, had taken tramadol, a medication for severe pain. The Chargers will be the host team for an NFL regular season game in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The game is scheduled for Friday, September 5th. The NFL has yet to announce who the Chargers will play. The UCLA women's basketball team, ranked 3rd in the country, is back in action tonight against Illinois. 6:30 tip-off at Pauley Pavilion. You can catch the game live on the Big Ten Network. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I have a dream today.
They said it couldn't be done. They said we wouldn't make it. But history had other plans. This February, KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates the dreamers, the doers, and the breakthrough makers of Black History Month. Your station, your stories. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Life blooms in beautiful ways. The Afia Center invites you to celebrate At the End with Red Gala, honoring the strength and resilience of Black women living with HIV. Join us for an evening of empowerment as we launch the Barbara Cambridge Scholarship and kick off Herstory Month with our theme, Life in Full Bloom. Your support helps create vital HIV programming and builds a future where every voice is heard and every story matters. The End with Red Gala, because every flower deserves to bloom. To learn more and to donate, visit theafiacenter.org.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach? Transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal? Prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Vibe us in.
Now you think it's funny. Now you wanna spend your money on girls that you forgot when you were down, that I was around.
I kind of want to let it go into the chorus just a little bit, y'all.
All my
No, it's too much. Too far. Welcome back in KBLA Talk 1580. You are locked in with Jill Munroe, here to give you your entertainment news update. I am not alone, of course. I'm joined by Mr. Damon Haley, strategist, author, entrepreneur, owner of Glow and Flow Beauty.
Glow and Flow!
Here in Inglewood and Hawthorne, as well as Slayyy Hair, available now on Target.
Always slay the crown. Always slay the crown.
Slay the crown, all of that. And we are talking the business of, all up in the business, actually, of the recently announced deal between Skims and Nike. I'm going to get back to these comments because there's a lot of comments in the YouTube chat. But before I do, I mentioned that Nike's stock price went up. You said 6%. And tell me about the math you just did and your rationale with why this deal with Kim makes sense.
Oh, yeah. The stock price went up 6%, which equates to $6.7 billion. The last valuation on Skims was $4 billion. So you could take that money and buy Skims and still have 2.7 billion left over. That's the value that people see. That's how happy people think of this particular deal. So once again, we shared, I mean, as much as the WNBA and those athletic women are phenomenal, they're great, I don't think other women want that life. They don't want to be able to score 30 or shoot a three-pointer. But what Kim delivers, and we know for the last 2 decades, people want her life. People want a piece of her. And she now has a product that really works for women. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know about Spanx or Skims because my wife is perfect. She don't need any of that. But I heard that
let me allow to be, and I know some people are going to be upset. Skims is a really good product. It is a really, really good product. Not just the shapewear, their lounge wear, the tech in it, that they used to suck and hold and whatever. It's a great product.
I mean, I'll go back. The Kim's business partners are British fashion designers. So they understand the woman's body. They understand what women want. And they were able to create a great partnership with Kim, probably saying these are the things I want.
Not just with Kim, with the Kardashians as a whole, because they also are involved with Khloe's Good American denim brand. They're involved with Kris and her, she has the cleaning antibacterial. I can't remember the name of it. So they are whole 360 involved with the family.
Yeah. So I mean that couple has been in all of those businesses and have created a great partnership with that family, and that gear, those Skims are every day. Like I say, is the shapewear as well as the loungewear, and that's something that Nike currently isn't doing. And the Nike Pro Fit or the compression stuff and all the sports bras, that just speaks differently, and you're just not going to grow a business like that. I mean, Serena's gone, and so who do you have? Just the WNBA? It's just not enough.
So I'm going to get to these chats, and then we're going to talk about Angela Bassett and her thoughts on her loss to Jamie Lee Curtis a couple years back. So in the chat, Lucas Frank says, as far as Nike goes, I think they're overly invested in, did I read this already? In professional women's sport. And I actually like the WNBA, but some of the things I'm seeing from Nike with the WNBA seems to be too much too soon. Summer says, bottom line, the NBA All-Star Weekend is boring. Dre Harden says, I don't care what Nike got going on with Caitlyn or Asia. I'm waiting on Juju. Definitely buying hers for my daughter. And Pretty Brown Mimi says, yes, Damon, speak on the British couple, the engine behind Skims. I love that. Miss Greed doesn't get her flowers enough for me.
Well, I think, once again, if you think of, say, Michael Jordan, it just wasn't about the championships and all that. It was everything. And
TW in the chat says Emma is also partnered with Kristen, and I'm going to mess up her name. She is the wife of the 49ers player who recently got the deal with the jackets, and she got the licensing deal. So,
I mean, once again, the business behind the business. We see the faces, but that couple is doing great things. So they're cascading across this whole sports scenario and getting with women that are coming up with great ideas. And so, but I think whoever said they're not checking for Asia and Caitlyn and all that, that's been a thing. I can honestly say I wrote the marketing plan for Nike for the WNBA in the late 90s, 97, 98 or something like that. I know it's going to be tough to utilize women in sports to grow a business, to continuously have growth, unless there are new technologies that are out there. There hasn't been a new technology other than new faces. Skims is as a new category. It's a new technology. It's a whole new thing, no different than Bo Jackson and cross trainers and sportswear. Because when we were there, it wasn't called sportswear.
Yeah, Pro Fit, Dry Fit.
No, it was limited edition.
Limited
edition. Shout out to Drew.
Oh, that's right. You're talking about the categories. That's right. You're right.
So
exactly.
Once again, are you going to hope that somebody up in Nike World Headquarters in Portland can come up with a great idea, or are you going to buy one in Skims? So this is just a purchase that I think is going to make sense. It expands them. I wouldn't be surprised if they purchase them later and really go all in, or just keep the partnership. And the women are different. I think the women will appreciate the Skims. So you're going to get Caitlyn in Skims. You're going to get all those WNBA. They already in it.
Right.
So I think it just expands it. It makes them, before the games, when they're doing the runway stuff, they're going to have Skims. And then when they're on the court, they're going to have Nike performance stuff on. So I think it's going to work out well for them. It gets them a cachet. Like I said, they're going to grow the brand because they can make the product cheaper. And they can get it out there more than Skims. So I don't see how this thing is going to lose for them. Yeah.
Well, I don't see how either. I think it's going to actually do quite well.
Yep.
Well, listen, let's get into Angela Bassett really quickly. In a new interview with Town and Country, Angela kept it really real about how she felt about losing out on the Oscar to Jamie Lee Curtis. And she's not wrong for feeling some type of way. I mean, Angela is our legend, and she did get the honorary Oscar. I believe it was last year. But, you know, we have this conversation all the time about how much do we value our own awards versus what's out there. And, of course, the Oscar is an esteemed award, but you've received love from all of these other places, too. It's a balance. But what she says is that she was expected not to feel disappointed after losing Best Supporting Actress. And she said while she was happy for Curtis, she felt that she had put in the work and that she should have won. So she's putting it out there. That should have been mine. I was robbed. You know, it's all subjective. She did receive, like I mentioned, her honorary Oscar, but, you know, rarely do we hear someone say, nope, it should have been me. So I got to respect it. Angela is standing on business. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to get more into these trending topics and headlines, more into the business with Damon Haley, and of course, more from the YouTube chat. All of that and more. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Your ride with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Fatherhood includes being present during pregnancy and beyond, supporting your partner, advocating for your baby, and ensuring a healthy birth. Black fathers play a key role in reducing maternal and infant health disparities, and your involvement starts during pregnancy. Join the free AIM Fatherhood program today and learn how to support your partner, advocate for your baby's health, and connect with other fathers committed to healthier births. Visit blackinfantsandfamilies.org/fatherhood to get started.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant at home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in to KBLA Talk 1580. You are listening to the Entertainment News Update with Jill Munroe, and I am joined by Damon Haley. So there's been a lot of conversation in the YouTube chat, as I mentioned, and there was a question about, where'd it go? I lost it. Okay, I'll have to come back to it later. So, in speaking about kind of, since we've been talking about business and positioning and so forth, I asked you off air before we came back in about the in-season tournament. If that could become sort of like the NBA Super Bowl because it is focused one weekend and there is something at stake with that game. Whereas with the All-Star game, the stakes are there, but not as much. There's, they don't seem to care about ego and pride. Do you think that is something that they could use to kind of shore up and maybe pull back off of All-Star? Because it kind of seems like there's not many options ahead as far as right now with the way the changes are happening.
I think the end season is tough because it only affects 4 teams. They only bring 4 teams. And that will be tough unless it's some type of fan engagement. And you have to, it's December, it's before Christmas, it's after Thanksgiving. Okay. I mean, it's really a tough thing unless they just go all, as I think Lucas in there said, streaming and offline and all of that kind of engagement and go hard, because you're not going to get the participation in Vegas. People are not going to get on a plane and go to Vegas for a play-in. We know that. And then the players, it's kind of the biggest story has been the $500,000 that everybody gets for the dude that's 12th on the bench,
right? And
how that'll affect their lives. Now, you just got to think of something interesting, and it has to scale globally too. It could be interesting to scale it globally, but just rolling out games, that's not going to work. Or overlaying something, it has to be more vested interest with franchises or the 4 franchises that go. How you paying off local fans, that kind of thing. It's an uphill climb because they're trying to get that cup to mean the same thing like over in Europe with soccer cups, and that's where the model comes from.
Right.
And it's just a whole different vibe in terms of national pride and team pride at this point.
So I mentioned Kai Cenat, and so we've seen him live streaming at the Grammys on the red carpet. We've seen him Super Bowl weekend. I believe he played in the flag football game. Mm-hmm. He was, I think he was in this year's Celebrity Game or Royal Rumble. He was in the WWE Royal Rumble. Say that 3 times fast. And, so it seems like everyone is trying to tap in to the youth and to be where they are, but they keep going to that one same person. They're popular, and it's not that we haven't seen that approach before, but I just don't know if it's working. I know that they talked about, like, at the Grammys, a lot of people talked about how their kids were the ones to point out or let their parents, who might have been the stars, like Blue Ivy, Jay-Z and Beyonce knew who he was because Blue watches him all the time. So do you think that this approach of, okay, I'm just going to grab the hottest streamer and let them see the event through their eyes, which is effectively, what you're doing if you're watching it through things, because like the Grammys, you have to get permission to live stream from the carpet. You can't, there's so much that you can't do as far as media with the Grammys, but they allowed him to do all of these things. So do you think that simply that approach is just, we're just going to get him involved and let him shoot it, is going to work in the way that the brands envision it?
Well, there's always the people who make ultimately like those big decisions and those big moments are older, out of touch, and don't really know. So they're consulted by younger people in the know. So if you don't have a great crew of young talent who's not only smart, but also understands the culture, there's always going to be a gap, and there's always going to create an opportunity. And so I don't think, the way I've seen it, I don't know if there's a lot of young talent out there like that. I don't know if there's a lot of diversity, equity, inclusion.
Could you create that? Could it be as simple as the NBA or one of these entities? I know that they try, and we know that they have their people, but could they create someone like that and insert them in and be their own voice in that world?
Yes, I think they can. And I think that it's not an issue of ability, can and can't. It's will and want. Do you have the will to bet on something that you might not understand 100%? That you're still going to trust, that works. And I think that in this day of data analytics and all that kind of stuff, you look at risk profiles and it might seem too risky. And so you just go to the whole what's safe, because we are talking about people's jobs. We are talking about people that are trying to not mess up too much, because when you're talking about Grammys, it's just not messing up too much.
Okay. Well,
but hey, you know, in a different time, people used to look me in the eye and say, Damon, is this going to work? And I look and say, hell yeah. You know, like, yes, it is, you know. And I don't know if it's that kind of conversation in these rooms to be disruptive, to let's do something different.
Do you think that it's because, much like with the music industry and somehow, some way with entertainment and studios as well, a lot of tech people in the mix, a lot of VCs, a lot of investors, and the talent execs, the ones that really know talent, manage it, and so forth, have been sort of pushed out of the way for people that know how to manage assets?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and there's a place for that. But when you talk about, once again, doing something different, being disruptive, changing the model, being a leader, taking a risk, oftentimes it's gut. It's not analytics.
Indeed. Well, listen, we have one more story to wrap up before we get ready to get out of here tonight. And, you know, once again, we're still talking about Tupac all of these years later. And, you know, Keffe D's trial, it was supposed to start in February of 2026. It has once again been delayed because his legal team says that they have new witnesses who can prove his innocence. My question is, isn't it Keffe D's own words that put him in this position to begin with? But okay, the judge is going to delay the inevitable. It's not like he's out of jail. Why? People cannot resist putting themselves in harm's way all for an ego boost, because that is 20 years of, I know what happened, I was in the car, and this is what we did, and now you want to say, but there's witnesses, and I was wrong, I was tripping, judge, my bad, I spoke bad on myself. Really don't understand it, you know? Listen, there's more stuff in the chat, of course. They're going in. Dre Harden says, it's just like the NFL Pro Bowl. Once players got worried about injuries more than fans, it took a huge slide. Damon?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, that flag football and all that kind of stuff, they're struggling to pivot and figure out. But it's tough when the players don't want to play. I mean, you then that's when you have to really think. And hey, the NFL is a bunch of lawyers at the league office and not too many creatives. So you got to figure out, how do you still fulfill the fans? How do you still get the fans going? Because the game isn't physical anymore.
I don't even think the fans know. Andy?
I say just scrap it all up. Scrap it all.
Well, we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
I was going to say they make too much money from it. It's part of the ratings thing, where it's how they make money as well for the networks. It's space. There's no way that they're going to scrap it. I think part of it too is just access. Over the past 20 years, we have gotten more access to athletes, to celebrities in general. We have seen more sides of them. So seeing them all in one space isn't as special as it used to be. We get to see them perform on Instagram quite often. So there's not as much as must must attend to these situations because we can roll it back. There's screen record. I mean, there's not an urgency to it. And I don't know if we can ever really get that back just based on how we are set up as a society now and how we get and consume our entertainment.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, we see a lot of them. It's not about the game. It's really about how do we see them in a different light, competitive. We still want them to do athletic stuff. So, and it's not flag football. It's not a derivative of it. So it's just really getting in there and figure out, once again, how do we get closer? How do we see them? And still, how do we celebrate them from a fan perspective? And that hasn't been figured out with the NFL. And I think the NBA, after this last go-round, really has to go in and really do a deep dive and think, how do we rethink All-Star Weekend?
Well, I want to thank you, Damon Haley, for getting all up in the business with us this week. Yeah. We will, of course, see you back here next week, next Thursday. Let us know where we can find you on social and all other places.
Yep, you can find me on social at Damon Haley, DamonHaley. Real simple there. All the social media channels, that's me. You keep saying author. I haven't told them about the book of DH.
Well, we're going to get into that next week,
the book
for
of
sure.
DH. Check me out on www.damonhaley.com for who I am and what I'm about. Holla at me.
So tonight was packed, you guys. Thank you for tapping in. Make sure you are back here tomorrow, 6 p.m. for more trending topics, more headlines with me, Jill Munroe. Check me out at Stiletto Jill if you do so, please. Coming up next, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. Thank you guys for locking in. I'll see you tomorrow.
To walk through the door, I wish I didn't miss you anymore.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. President Trump hosted a White House event for Black History Month, claiming he got more black votes than any Republican president. Amid his DEI crackdown, he was joined